Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah Rosso. I head up product marketing here at Smartcat. And today we're going to be talking about our image translator. And this is a very early preview. We wanted to do this special for our customers and give you a closer look at something that we're developing together. Now, I want to let everyone know that first, we have had a lot of questions on this and we have been kind of prioritizing those. We are planning to get through several questions at the end of this at the end of the demo. We will ask you to put your questions into the Q&A that you see on your screen. We will try to prioritize those, but of course, we will be gathering every single question and using that to develop education and all the information that you're going to need as this nears general release. So please add your questions, and if we don't get to them today, we'll definitely make sure that we get to them in the future and keep you in the loop. So first, we're going to talk a little bit about image translation. I know a lot of you are current customers, so you know the value of localized content, but I wanted to remind us a little bit of that, right? 84% see it having a impact on revenue growth. 96% are experiencing positive ROI as you do these projects. And even just on the customer engagement side, 75% feel that it has an impact on customer engagement. So in terms of imagery, we know that imagery can be super important to storytelling or to education and learning content. And 48% of marketers even plan to adapt their imagery for other markets. But this has been a pain point for many of you, which is why when we started to look into how to do image to image translation, we wanted to get something together and to show you what we could do. So right before we get to the demo, I did want to remind you, I know that there's been so many new things we've been launching, but a reminder, we do have a ton of integrations that you could be using and working with Smartcat. Just a little plug that if you haven't seen any of these recently, the team is super excited to help you figure out how to get those into your workflows and your automations. And with that, I will turn it over to Sonia. Sonia Madi is on the call here, as well as Artem from our product team, and they're going to be sharing a little bit more.
All right. Thank you so much, Sarah, for that introduction. I hope everyone can see my screen here. This is the Smartcat workspace. I'm sure most of you are familiar with it, but if not, welcome. And I'm really excited to give you guys this early preview to this image translation feature that we have implemented or are wanting to implement on the Smartcat platform. And like Sarah mentioned, this is really going to give you the space and ability on our platform to take some of that marketing, L&D, all those images that you have within your organization and translate them into as many languages as you want to get to the regions and areas that you're wanting to. For this demo, I'm going to take you through translating two images. The first one is going to be this lovely banner for a nice marketing content to give a little bit more information about the loop experience too. And I'll take you through that process from front to end and then do it with another image that is slightly different to showcase some slightly different features within this new feature. That being said, I'm going to head back into my Smartcat workspace and start out kind of in the same way that I would with any other translation within Smartcat. For those of you who are not as familiar with Smartcat, this is your centralized location for all your translation and some content creation needs, and is really going to be where, if you use it to translate all your content, we're going to actually be able to learn from the way you edit to make sure that the translations are really keeping consistent with your brand tone, your voice, and any edits and terminology that you like to use. So what we're really hoping to do with this image translation feature is give you that high quality translation, but then also give you a nice looking image output that can be utilized kind of instantaneously as soon as it runs through our platform. That being said, I'll go ahead in here and create a project. This is going to be pretty familiar to most of you on the call. We'll call this webinar demo. You're able to set a deadline for when you need this project turned around by. Most images don't have too much text in them, so we can kind of expect this to be a pretty quick turnaround time. Let's say I want that nice banner turned around by tomorrow, and we're going to go from English into Spanish. Now, Smartcat as a platform supports over 280 different languages and dialects. So if I wanted to take that one banner and immediately turn it into, Spanish, German, Italian, French, Japanese, Korean, all those languages, I can do that all simultaneously. But for purposes of the demo and to save us all a little bit of time, I'll go ahead and just translate it into Spanish. Finally, we'll drag and drop that image in here. It's a nice PNG, and then create that project. Now, I've leveraged that two-step process of AI translation and human review. AI will get you, almost all the way there pretty instantaneously in terms of quality. But then we always want a human in the loop to make sure that not only is the translation good, but in this case, the imagery is good as well. Now, this might take a little bit of time while we go through our AI. So I actually have the image open in our editor in this tab here. So I'll skip to this so we can get the demo moving. As you can see, this looks a little bit different than the editor you all are familiar with. Of course, we still have the text editing feature on the bottom where we have English on the left, Spanish on the right. You still get full ability to make any edits or adjustments you think are necessary. Now, I don't speak Spanish, so for me, that always is just adding a few exclamation points there. We're always going to leverage any translation memories, so previously edited content that your humans have reviewed and said are correct. We're going to leverage that in the translations with the images. We're also going to leverage any glossaries, so those really key terms and phrases, slogans, brand name, product name, L&D terms, to make sure that, again, you're getting that high quality translation off the bat. Now, what does look a little different, I think, to all of us on the call is the preview is now at the top. So of course, we know preview is good to give those linguists the context that they need to make sure that you get that high quality translation. So knowing whether they're translating a caption of a photo, a title, a saying, for example. But we can actually now toggle this and get a very light editor of the image itself. We know languages expand, they contract, they change the alphabet, all of that, and it's not necessarily going to look perfect right off the bat. So with our new image editing feature on Smartcat, we're going to give you that flexibility to actually make sure that the image looks good and fits within your brand. So there are a few features I can talk about here. Of course, to get to those very little buttons, we can always zoom in and make those slight adjustments to where the buttons are located. We also have some more, I'll call them basic formatting options. So I want this to be all in one line so I can expand that text box. This too, I think should be in 2 lines altogether. And then maybe, if we toggle between, we see that live for the moment in this case is in black, but in the Spanish one, maybe I want to change the color altogether. Maybe I want to match that neon green of this individual's hair, or maybe pop in an all new pink color altogether. Or in this case, I'll just keep it a more simple, clean white, but still to give you a little more contrast. We can also always edit the text, the style of the text, if I want to have serif, sans serif, or a bunch of different fonts altogether. And then actually edit the font size. So if I want to make this font a little bit bigger, I can do that as well and recenter that so they're fitting exactly where I need them to. That being said, all of this is very flexible. All is here to actually help you get you that high quality image translation with not only that high quality translation, but then also an image that fits within your brand guidelines and is going to look good on your website. That being said, again, I'm not going to spend too much time editing this photo, but I can go ahead and actually download that resulting file. So I uploaded that PNG. I'm now going to get a PNG exactly back with the same formatting and all of that, and then save that to my desktop. And while that loads, I can pull it up for you to see that output. There we go. So as you can see, we have the same exact image with all the edits I made to that white text, expanding this text box, moving that text around. However, now it's completely in Spanish, but still in that PNG format, kind of ready for you to use almost instantaneously, I would say. So that is the first image I'm showing you all today, but what about the images that are maybe a little bit more complex and have kind of intricate backgrounds, more colors, more fonts, all of that? We can also take a peek at what that would look like. So I have this image here ready for you all. It is a lovely advertisement by this cute girl showing you a CO2 safe mask for swimming. But you can see, right, there's some more colors here. There is kind of a dynamic background and wanting to make sure that the image and text are still going to be maintained when translating it into another language. So let's head back into Smartcat and see what that would look like. Back from our homepage, again, I'm going to go ahead and make a new project here. We'll call this the webinar demo 2. Again, setting that deadline, not that much text altogether, hopefully not too much rearranging of the words in general. So we'll get that deadline for tomorrow. And then this image is in German. So let's go from German. And to keep consistent, we'll just go into Spanish again. Of course, just going to drag and drop that file right in to the platform, if I can grab it. There we go. With all the files that we put in, images, all of those, we'll still have those additional settings, right? Like choosing that workflow stage, similar to the one that I just translated before. I'm going to be utilizing AI translation and translation review. And I'll go ahead and create that project and let the platform do its magic. Again, prepping the file, using our OCR technology to extract the text, and doing a few other things that I'll show you in a second, as I actually now, again, flip to a new tab to show you what that image will look like. So as you can see, we have that text editing feature on the bottom as well. But then what we can see is we toggle from the original to now the translated one. We've actually used a generative fill feature to fill in the background of those more dynamic elements of your image. So if in the new language or in the new locale, you want to actually change where the text is altogether, that will be totally possible without ruining the integrity and the design that you put into the image itself. Again, it's just going to give you that more seamless output that is ready to use as soon as you need it. Again, we're going to have full ability if I want to, change this text, change the font, change the size of this, or, in this case, make it a little bit smaller so it does fit within that nice hexagon there, and rearrange that text box all together. Now, within the editor, we are always going to leverage any of those translation memories and glossaries to maintain with that brand image, brand consistency, tone of voice, everything there. You'll always get the features like the ability to invite a human in the loop, for whether that's from our marketplace, someone internally, or a little bit of both if you want to have a more flexible workflow where you're having a marketplace person review the text, but maybe someone internally who knows your brand, your marketing, your L&D goals a little bit better so that they can make the image most in line with their company. And again, after all of that is done within the platform, hopefully pretty quickly, I'll be able to download that resulting file again into the appropriate location. We're going to have the same image just with that language tag at the very end of the file. And then I will be able to open it up and show you the output. So as you can see here, all of that kind of background blurred image has been removed and overlaid with Spanish text. You can see, we match the colors pretty well to what we found in the image itself without me even having to actually choose the color that was needed. The first one was just black text, so that was all maintained, but the yellow was matched, the white was matched, even this kind of off, I think it's kind of a browner color, was matched as well within the platform. And yeah, we're really excited for you all to play around with this a little bit and kind of see how it works for you and your company, and really giving you the ability to centralize all that translation, whether that's for text-based documents, whether that's for images, videos, whether that's the integrations that Sarah was mentioning, to build up that knowledge, train the AI on your brand, your tone, all of that stuff. And then also tie in that light image editing functionality within our platform as well to give you very high quality and nice looking outputs for you to utilize in any market or anywhere you need.
That's great. Yeah, I was going to say that's exactly why we heard game changer from some people that saw this in an early preview and why we're here today. A reminder, please add your questions to the Q&A. Also, you can upvote other people's questions if you have a chance to go through and do that now. I'm actually just going to pull up quickly some next steps before we get to Q&A. And let me go ahead and share my screen so you can see that. Okay. All right. So What are next steps moving forward with Image Translator? We have two paths forward. This is for current customers, of course. One is just gathering interest if you want to participate in this early stage. So the product team is going to prioritize working with some current SmartCat customers who are dedicating an internal resource. So that's someone on your team who says, hey, this is super critical for us. We want to be involved. We want to make it work. And we're also going to work closely with you to give feedback and share our use cases. The second way is you can actually just give us some of your imagery as examples of types of, combinations of fonts and backgrounds so that the product team can look at those as they're testing and developing out the product. And those are two, ways forward that you can work on this. So what we're going to do is answer some questions for you. But if you are ready to move forward, we'll be sending you some information after this recording, as well as reaching out to your account team at any point to move forward. But we would like you to keep those two things in mind. Number one, if you'd love to be, again, this is early preview, so it's an early stage, but we wanted to be making sure we develop this with you in mind. If you'd like to be closely involved, you can be kind of a part of this program more officially. We would love for you to have someone on your team, or you can just give us some of those examples. So we will definitely appreciate that and look forward to developing that with you. So in terms of lots and lots of questions, let me go ahead and pull up some of the Q&A. Now, I will introduce Artem, who has been trying to answer some of your questions, but we've actually prioritized a bunch of questions ahead of time. One of the questions, Artem, that I saw coming up over and over again is the number of fonts, and then we'll get into custom fonts. So I know that in Sonia's dropdown, she didn't have all the fonts that will be in the first release. Can you tell us about what will be included in the first release and then maybe future plans? Yeah.
Hi
Can you hear me?
everyone. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Hi everyone. Thanks for coming for this webinar. Thanks for your questions. So in regards of fonts, in the first version, we gonna support 40 most popular fonts from the Google Fonts library. Those fonts support extended special symbols. So we will support all the European languages. And also on our roadmap, we have ability to upload your own custom fonts because we know one of the most popular use cases are marketing and L&D, and there's brand guidelines that you should follow, and we know about this problem, so we'll introduce. So the most popular fonts in the world will be supported in the first release, then ability to upload your own.
Perfect. And just for, I mean, I know that the number of formats that we accept in the first release is more than just a handful. I think there's something like 12. We mentioned bitmap, we mentioned PNG. I think there was just a question about how many. We'll have that
Yes,
all
yes,
laid out
yes.
for you, but maybe there's a couple others you can think of off the top of your head. A lot of the,
Yeah,
basically a lot of the web compliant ones for sure, right?
yeah. Actually, I've read multiple questions regarding file formats, and especially will we support embedded images? So plan is the following. Initially, we're gonna support bitmap images such as JPEG, PNG, and their similar formats. It's just because we want to make sure we handle standalone images properly with high quality translation and high quality output. And the next thing is to support images within docx files, PPT files, PDF files, and online courses such as Articulate, Scorm, Rise. And
Great.
actually any other formats based on popularity and demand.
Great. Yeah. So let me see. I'm just scrolling through lots of upvotes on things. Um, Question about image resolution. I think that's something that maybe I'm not sure we'll be able to answer online or not, but a question about whether or not the image editor maintains the original image resolution or if there's some resolution change after translations.
No, our idea is to generate image in the same file format, the same attributes how it was uploaded. So you will get the same file format, the same file resolution. We're not going to touch and optimize the quality anyhow. So it's up to you. So we want to deassemble file, extract text in paint the background. I mean, remove the text on the original image, place the text, give you ability to edit, adjust it to achieve the best quality in terms of its appearance. And you can download same file format with the same resolution, the same quality. There's also a question about the limitation in maximum resolution and file weight. Actually, we do not have any particular reasons to limit the size of file image, but of course it will affect the time of processing. If let's say you're gonna upload an image with 10,000 pixels by any dimension, it will take for a while to process this file. The only one limitation I'm gonna put is the amount of recognized words here. If let's say you try to translate a large volume of the text, which is higher than 3,000 words, we have a hard stop here because it's more likely it would better for you to convert it to PDF or docx file and translate it as text file format, not like an image.
Right. Yeah, and just a reminder, I know I've seen some in the chat. There's a lot of questions. If you can upvote existing ones that are similar to yours, that'll also help us see who's
I do my
interested in.
best. I've already answered 3 of them. Let me go through them.
Yeah. Yeah, a ton about brand preferred fonts, which I think we already answered in terms of custom fonts. I know we know that's super important to folks. So I think that Artem, do you have something to add? I think that's a great use case. If you have brand fonts that you want to see if we can start to work with and what that process would be, that would be great to reach out to say that you're interested to work with the product team so we can start to see how that process looks, how we work with custom fonts or even, you know, as part of some sort of brand identity. Okay, let me think what else we have. Quite a bit. A little bit about, you know, what this will be available in starter enterprise. My understanding is that we would like this to be in all plans, and that's the goal eventually. So as this gets closer to general release, we will be sharing more information with everyone so that you can have that information available. Keep the questions coming. There's some great things here. I think we already talked about vector images and we talked about PSDs. So that's been answered. Illustrator files as well. Okay, a couple more questions that came out. You know, can you edit the text translation before the final image is rendered? So as Sonia showed you, you can. Another person asked about seeing the original and how that would work. As you saw, there was a tab or there was like a toggle that you could switch between the original and the translated version, which I think will be really helpful for folks who are maybe doing some modifications or maybe some validation at the end. So that is possible. Let's see. Sorry, I'm checking quite a few questions. So I just want to make sure I get to those. Um, is this available? I think I just answered that. Is this available on our enterprise account? So as I mentioned, the plan is to roll this out to all Smartcat plans, but this is an early preview and we're working on making sure we capture the most use cases that we can. So as it nears general release, we will be answering more of that information for each of you. Okay. Quite a few are being answered at this point. Okay. Here's a great one. I actually think this is really great. Thank you, Julie. If our images contain technical formulas, equations, and tables with special characters, how will Smartcat handle those? Artem, I know you and I have talked a little bit about imagery and, you know, vertical images and things like that. So maybe just give an answer for like this first release and then what we're thinking about for future.
Yeah, of course. There are plenty of cases with complex images where text is placed not horizontally and vertically, or with rotation, where you have not a horizontal baseline but vertical. Those cases are complex, and we will introduce it a bit later. So now our goal is to provide ability to handle the most popular cases where text is placed normally. We also not going to introduce in the first version complex languages with a bit different writing system, which is right to left. Hebrew and some of our Arabian languages, but we plan to introduce that because Smartcat does support most languages on the earth, and we will
Yeah.
definitely bring it.
Yeah,
Our strategy
Artem,
is to
there's
bring, yeah.
actually, sorry, there's a related question that I just wanted to check. You did, and you and I talked about like the right to left would not be part of the first release, but someone had a question about whether or
Mhm.
not these are only going to be Latin alphabet fonts or like Greek or Cyrillic will be included in the first
Symbolic.
release.
Uh,
No, Greek, like Greek or Cyrillic or,
yes, Cyrillic and Greek will be included. Yes.
okay, great. I know we are coming up on time, and we would love it if you could also continue to upvote questions so we know how much interest there is in specific use cases or specific things that we can take back to the product team. I'm going to go back to the previous slide. Maybe I went a little bit fast on that, just so you know what is next and how we'd like you to participate. We want to make sure that this really meets the needs of most of the Smartcat customers. So, like I said, two choices, send us some images. Again, this will just be part of the product development process and, not something that you're waiting on for for a business need, but rather an example of the types of images that your organization depends on. Or you can choose a little more involved route where you have someone who's working very closely with the product team on enabling this use case at an early stage and seeing how it works for you. So we would love to make sure that we can get you involved. And we wanted to just make sure we got this early in front of you because we know it's super important use case and it also can be really impactful for you as you're starting to plan out 2025. And with that, I want to make sure I think we might have time for one more question. I think there have been a couple questions. I'm going to kind of group them together. We're talking about translating in bulk. We're talking about workflows. I think those are all going to be things that, Sonia mentioned. If you wanted to be translating an image into multiple languages, that's definitely on the roadmap, and as well as bringing this into normal workflows and the normal Smartcat experience that you're going to be using in terms of validation or those custom workflow stages. That's definitely something that would be on the roadmap. I think for this first release, Artem, we're probably going to be doing. Can you talk a little bit about like the workflow that could be expected for this type?
Uh, Images will be handled like any other file types, so we include the images into all workflows.
Great. Okay, well, I know we're coming right on time and I want to be respectful of everyone's time. Please continue to, I think I'll hang on for a little bit if you want to upvote some of these questions. And if you don't have something that's been answered, you can also reach out to us and we will be putting those all into a list and making sure we roll this out to everybody. And I want to really thank Sonia and Artem for jumping on and making sure that we're sharing this with all of our customers. Thanks to everybody so much.
Thank you for your question.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for coming. Have a nice rest of the day.